Looks like we got brooms down.
Getting ready to roll here in just a second. The collision will be underway. The beaters wearing the black headbands, the chasers rocking the white ones, and the individual keepers wearing the green ones.
And we're off, and it is Austin with the quaffle, number 11.
Martin Bermudez is going to have it past the midline over here after receiving that pass and a quick sub. It was a speed advantage to try and get to the quaffle first to gain the first possession. And now the chess game begins. The beater play about to go down. Cole Travis about to exchange. You can see him there at mid-pitch. He lost his bludgeon for about half a second as he beat someone in a duck out of the way of Cole Travis's beat. Martin Bermudez is blocked.
Jake Archibald with the block, and it is Teddy Costa, number 0, going to retrieve the missed shot. Passing back to Jake Archibald. That is Boston's one reset.
Looks like this one could be relatively easy.
Easy. And Jake Archibald with a dunk. And his trademark shout of "Let's go" on his way back to the other end of the pitch.
And Hank Yuki, I'm sure, somewhere with his untrademarked chant of "Let's go." As the Austin Outlaws get underway here, a team that comes into this tournament near the top in terms of overall scoring. I'm sorry, at the top, averaging 164 quaffle points per game.
We have Augustine Monroe walking up the quaffle at mid-pitch. Brian Mulcahy manning up on defense. Beaters causing a lot of chaos in the middle of the pitch.
And a beater screen on that one. Augie for the quick.
Oh, and
dropped one in front of the hoops. And a very quick turtle situation. Awareness and the ability to jump on top of that one and leave no one any chance to get a chance on the second possession.
Boston very calmly bringing the quaffle up. Teddy Costa ball handling, number 00, crosses mid-pitch, screen from Brian Mulcahy, passing to Brian Mulcahy, then to Grace Dastos. Back to Teddy Costa. With a long pass over the hoops, trying to fight for the ball. Mulcahy with the recovery.
Simon Lorenzi, nice
tackle.
Simon on that play.
And Jake Archibald beat. It will be a turnover to Austin.
And Cole Travis with the beat to ward off the Boston Knight Riders and force them back on defense. Augie Monroe, the number 2 scorer in Major League Quidditch this season, with the quaffle coming across the midline. No chaser in front of him, trying to draw the beat, but he doesn't have anybody to pass it to, also waiting for his beaters to get back at full strength. Simon at the midline, about as close as you can get to being in the back pitch as possible, waiting for that quick toss-off, just in case the beater exchange doesn't go his way, as Cole Travis is up top. Hasn't thrown yet. Pass over to Martin Bermudez, who's number 6 in total scoring in MLQ. Now he's trying to split 2 defenders, a quick toss over, and a goal!
Now it seemed like the beater play is really what opened up that goal for Austin.
The beater exchange is happening so quickly. The chasers having their timing near perfect is going to have to be paramount to their success offensively. The Austin Outlaws, 1 for 3 so far in terms of their shot attempts, came into this game shooting 78%.
78%?
Yeah, 78% on their shot efficiency, currently at 33. That's going to have to change if they want to beat the Boston Knight Riders.
And a cut and a pass behind the hoops, picked off by Augie Monroe.
Augie waiting for his team to get back. He's got a beater who's down right now. Cole Travis going to get the lone open bludger.
Coming up the side behind the Boston line.
Have not crossed yet. Both feet were not across, and Martin being aware of that. Now across the midline when it's safe. Cole's directly in front of him. He's got Beckett up behind the hoops. But Boston's keeper dropping back just a bit behind the hoops, knowing that the shot will be okay from that angle, but the pass is unacceptable.
You can see Jake Archibald constantly turning his head on a swivel to keep an eye on the area behind the hoops, because that pass goes behind there as he's able to jump on her real quick. Let's see if she can convert this drive, though.
3 tackle swipes from Jake Archibald. Beckett to come on, able to get away from all of them. Keep the Austin Outlaws shot attempt alive, and Augie with the shot and the score.
Beat throw from Leanne Dillman coming just a second too late, allowing Austin to convert that goal successfully. Jake Archibald going to recover the quaffle and start play up again.
And
Score right now is 2-1 in favor of the Austin Outlaws.
Outlaws hanging back with their lone, they do have bludgeon control temporarily. Cole Travis just picked it up for him, and now throw in front of the hoops, and a late.
No,
they're going to call it good.
They are calling that good with a quick pass. Whether that was due to natural motion or not, I don't know. But the refs have called that good. Scores all tied up at 20-all. 5 minutes in.
About as close to simultaneous as you're going to get in this game, ladies and gentlemen. There's no doubt about that. And subs coming into the game for the Austin Outlaws. We'll get to them as they touch the quaffle. Outlaws coming across the midline. Augie going to be down a beater here for a second, going to be pressured, and now using their lone reset on the Austin Outlaws, so they'll have to be very meticulous. Augie being pressured back by a chaser, so cutting him off as a pass option.
Brian Mulcahy playing very far up into the Austin Outlaws territory to make sure that pass back cannot be done.
Right.
They have recrossed the midpoint line, so they cannot reset anymore.
Jackson trying to get a beat on this one. Cannot.
Mario Nassa with the block and knocks out their beater.
Now another tackle attempt, almost forced behind that midline there. The Outlaws scrambling here as they do not have a legit shot. That was a late, well, they're not going to call it late, but it was a throw backward, and there might be another situation coming up here in just a second. Beat up top Jackson, taking care of that quaffle until it can be picked up again. And miraculous, they're going to give it to the Night Riders. I was going to say it'd be a miracle if they were able to gain possession after that.
Well, the reason why they had to give it to the Night Riders is because Austin had already used the reset and it crossed the midpoint line again.
He was beat, and as he was turning around, he threw it backwards.
Yeah.
I was going to say that'd be, like I said, a miracle if they maintain possession.
Yes.
A nice block by Becca DuPont. Now the quaffle was down on the pitch. A nice stiff arm to go along with it from Salinas.
Austin attempting to gain bludgeon control as well. And a goal!
Augie Monroe in transition drew the beat. That's textbook Quidditch, ladies.
That is textbook Quidditch. And for those stat tracking at home, that is Augie Monroe with the assist, passing to number 11 on Austin. Nick Marino.
Nick Marino also laying one of those big hits earlier on the Boston Knight Riders. And now a drive on the right-hand side. They're going to call it good.
No, the head ref says no. Head ref had a better angle on that, waves it off. As a beat from behind against Tyler Trudeau. Austin fighting for it. Austin picking up that quaffle. And a hit from Tyler Trudeau.
Laid him out on that.
And it's delayed penalty. Goal for Augie Monroe and the Austin Outlaws. Now we're going to have a stoppage of play as they're going to deal out the penalty here.
Just going back to what just happened. Beautiful tackle up front. Saw he was trying to spin away from him, finished it, and oh man, they might be getting ready to say Jake got him with two hands.
No, they're saying that I think Tyler Trudeau hit him from behind while he was on the ground fighting for that quaffle. We will see if Tyler Trudeau gets a yellow card for this play. If he does, because Austin scored, he does not serve penalty time. Right. He gets to stay where he is. But a card is against his record, and that's 1 of 3 before ejection from the game.
By the way, for the kids watching at home, that was beautiful passing.
That was beautiful passing.
I didn't know that. Apparently
my colleague's microphone was off, so now hopefully you can hear him just as loud and clearly as me.
Wait for the call to go down.
It looks like no call is being made after discussion from the referees.
Stoppage of play on that one, and the Boston Knight Riders on the attack once again.
Score is 40-20 in favor of Austin.
Austin scoring on a beautiful series of passes on that last play, despite Trudeau's great tackle up front. And it looks like it might be.
And it's a fight for bludgers in the middle of the field. Lulu Zoo making a wonderful beat from the ground.
That's a cool name, Lulu Zoo.
Lulu Zoo.
Swim over the top.
And beat in the face is Tyler Trudeau. And as he tries to throw it back with the incoming beat, passes it to Harry Greenhouse, and that is a goal by Boston. Score 40-30. But we have a stoppage of play.
And it might have been for the throwback after the beat. He was trying to get it back into the keeper zone to give his team a chance to recover it, and it did not work out for him.
Now,
like you said, Greenhouse ended up scoring.
And in this situation, do you call the penalty and thus negate Boston's goal, or do you just let it stand since Boston scored anyway? Is the call no harm, no foul?
All I know is that they're going to have a water break here. As it is hot, in case anybody didn't know, Texas in the summer is pretty hot.
It is pretty darn hot. And players will use this every opportunity they can to stay hydrated. We are keeping everybody as safe as possible to make sure no one suffers due to the heat.
And
they are calling no goal on this.
That's interesting.
That is a very interesting call to make.
But to his credit, Greenhouse staying strong, staying stout, being able to keep his arm straight on that shot as he was being tackled, falling sideways away from him.
It's a penalty on Boston. Number 52, Julia Baer, with a penalty. And that is why they are negating the goal.
Right.
Score stands at 40-20, Austin.
And almost at that 10-minute mark here. According to our unofficial time, we'll get you an official time update here. 8:10. 8 minutes, 10 seconds elapsed in this game so far. A total of 40 minutes will tick off the clock. And this one is all over in terms of game time, but almost at the halfway point before Snitch on pitch arrives. Each team does have a timeout, by the way. There's a bludger turnover here.
No, they are resetting it to before the whistle was blown, and they do not believe that the Austin beater had thrown the bludger before the whistle was blown, so she gets possession back.
And bludger control lies with the Austin Outlaws.
As does the quaffle possession. Yeah. So they will get to set up their offense at full strength. Boston down a chaser and a goal. So Julia Baer gets to come back in. She was carded for swatting the bludger off the hard boundary.
And that's going to be Luke on the score over there. He's been slowly ticking up that scoring ranks for the Austin Outlaws. He gets a lot of snitch on pitch play, and that's usually when he does a good chunk of damage, but also a really good defender when it comes to off-ball defense.
Very good defense you're seeing from both teams here. Both very strong. As Julia Baer, as Julia Baer comes up, passing it to Harry Greenhouse, and it is good. Score 50-30, Austin.
And a throw actually snipes Luke for the Boston Knight Riders. Although it's only about 5 feet, it's still a walk.
It takes more energy out of you, and it also demoralizes you. You're standing near your hoops, and oh, really? You beat me right there?
Right. And also, it throws the bludger far away, so the other beater has to.
Exactly. And Max Havlin with the catch of the bludger. And he doesn't have to go back to hoops because he has immunity, but you can still beat them to mess with their head, as Max Havlin is wont to do. Max Havlin running up the pitch, both beaters from Austin down. Now you'll see him make a throw, but he misses it. Yeah. Austin able to recoup and maintain their offensive possession.
And Havlin showing some advanced theory right there, not beating Augie Monroe just because he was simply right next to him, waiting for the throw because the receiver is basically defenseless. They either have to leave the quaffle or take the beat.
Exactly. And it looks like Austin is going to be recovering bludger control as Max Havlin runs off to the other end of the pitch. He is unsuccessful. Austin maintaining bludger control as Augie Monroe gets a few screens at the top of the Boston half of the pitch. Ian Skura defending him.
Spacing a little tight there on the far side as Luke is rotating over to help out.
With Lindsay Morella is now,
Molly
Lansing,
Ryan Naraki entering the game, and now Luke trying to get his second goal of the game. Nice passing again from the Outlaws around the perimeter. Everybody rotating hard to the initial play of the quaffle, and then find an open receiver on the backside of the play.
Score is 6-3. Tyler Trudeau having to go back to his keeper zone to restart play as Boston has one lone bludger. Oh, Lulu coming back in off the edge of the pitch with that other bludger. Boston actually maintaining bludger control.
And Ariagazzi out there trying to make some contact on Greenhouse. A block from Augie Monroe. He might be ready to run down the far right-hand side.
But there's a bludger right there. Tyler Trudeau with the hustle. Austin recovers. Tyler Trudeau with the turtle.
Augie Monroe having a little faith in Luke and his foot speed being able to run out Tyler Trudeau, but he had the better angle on it, so good run by Trudeau out of the keeper zone once again.
Successful turtle strategy right there. If you cover the ball with your whole body, they ain't getting to that.
These are facts. Or more than like, or you're lucky enough they try and get to it, and you get the penalty for them reaching over the back. So.
Exactly.
It looks like we got Simon Arenz out there at the point chaser position. And
point chaser going up against Jake Archibald with a pick from Tyler Beckman. Jake passing it to Teddy Costa, who fakes a shot, passing back to Beckman, and Beckman is beat, releasing it, but not able to get up as he's being tackled by the Austin keeper.
Joshua Andrews out there, as you can tell, and now Martin Bermudez on the roll here.
And he is beat.
Simon Arenz took a bobble there on that catch, and that gave the beater just enough time to come up with it.
Ooh,
and
a
nice
good
tackle again. Looks like it's Martin Bermudez there, and it is. Now a scramble for the Quaffle, throwing it back.
Everyone getting beat in mid-pitch, but Austin coming away with bludger control as there's a bludger at the other end, and it is looking like a delayed penalty. It's being called.
And they might be getting ready to move. Yeah, there you go.
A couple steps back.
A couple steps.
Momentum is a funny thing.
Like Al Pacino says, in any given Sunday, the inches we need to win are all around us.
And as you can see, players again running to the field to distribute water to compensate for the heat that is being felt here.
And the beater duo currently out there, Ryan Naraki and Molly Linsing, two very experienced beaters, played a lot of high-level Quidditch.
And what looks like a yellow card for Teddy Costa from Boston. It's intense play all around across both teams.
And once again, the beater play.
Oh, Mario diving on the ground, avoiding the bludger from Molly Linsing.
But Molly's now ready for offensive on the offensive run because of the throw.
Mario being sent back to hoops for an unintentional back contact. Molly staying up with her chaser, providing good protective coverage, playing defense while on offense.
And the beaters hanging back just a little bit for the Boston Knight Riders. Martin Bermudez going to be allowed to run the perimeter. Simon Arenz out there as well. Josh Andrews, a big target, cutting towards the hoops, trying to distract the beaters, even if it's just for a second. Got to get to that before it rolls back there, and they just save it on that one. Simon Arenz with the look over to Martin Bermudez behind the hoops. Now he's going to drive. Beater action going on. A pass and a score.
Now it looked like the beater action there from Austin actually distracted the Boston Beaters, appropriately so for their strategy to allow Austin's 7th goal this game.
Right. And once again, we're talking about the Austin Outlaws and what's separating them. The Boston Knight Riders are just driving hard at the hoops. The Outlaws using some near flawless passing to get their goals.
They are using a lot of passing. The Austin Beaters are running the table right now, and Boston's going to have to be able to step up the game and match them.
Yep. That's a hard boundary turnover as that shot went wide. It was a good angle. I think he just hooked it a little bit too much because his defender was on his left-hand side, forcing him further out.
Exactly. The wind carried that one away. Teddy Costa with an unfortunate miss for the Boston Knight Riders, allowing the turnover to go back to Augie Monroe carrying the ball up for the Austin Outlaws.
Amanda Marsden out there for the Austin Outlaws along with Cole Travis in the starting beater setup for the Austin Outlaws. Augie Monroe getting a little bit closer, trying to draw the beat. Still no throw from
Tyler Beckman with a block as Mario Nasta goes in to clear up a little bit of the field, allowing Boston to recover and set up the offense.
Current game time 14-20 and ticking on this one. So that deadline for calling your one timeout, which I doubt either one of these teams would use, but in case you want to, you know, 1 minute of this intense, taking a 1 minute break has never hurt anybody.
Especially if you need to regroup and re-strategize. Oh, that was
from the
blocked.
front side of the hoop.
Now, I could not tell if Augie reached his hand through the hoop, which is something the keepers can do to block the shot from going all the way through.
Yeah, I don't think Augie reached through. I think he just prevented on the front side of the hoop the completion of the passing through the hoop, which of course doesn't count as the goal.
Exactly.
Has to completely go through the hoop on that one. So now Luke is back out there again, and it looks like they're going to send Marino out there. Augie rotating to the right-hand side.
As the Beaters make a play, Mario with blocking one, forcing the Austin Beaters to claim immunity to go for the other bludger that is farther away from the play as they try to re-engage.
And Augie might be out there by himself. Luke just got beat because he was cutting across the front of the hoops. He got beat from behind, and now a reset coming from the Outlaws. back at relatively full strength. All their beaters available to them. Cole's got the only bludger. Cole Travis back up top, waiting for the exchange to go down, faking the throw, and was not successful in that.
Bludger's far away from the Austin hoops. Boston going to pressure real hard here to try and get a turnover quick, as now the Austin Outlaws have a bludger back in play. Harry Greenhouse beat, but it was by his own team. Does not count. Shot is up and misses. Augustine Monroe with the recovery. Driving, shot, and good!
That was set up. You couldn't see it on the far side of the pitch. Luke once again distracting the beater up front. Got one throw off. Got one throw by blocking the angle intended for the ball carrier. He circles around, continues to make the rotation, forces another throw, misses the shot, but because Augie was so aware of the situation, was able to drop down and finish strong in front of the hoops.
Exactly, and that type of thinking has led to Austin's current lead of 5 goals.
Gotta hustle hard, kids. Gotta hustle hard. Beats up front on the point chasers. And a strip.
Oh, and a strip from Austin.
Oh, no, that's Hemowitz out front, and he's actually going to get beat outside the keeper zone. And now Luke's trying to get turned around and get it too, and he will.
A lot of chaos happening with bludgers and quavels being stripped left and right. But now we reach a calm in the storm of this game.
And Hemowitz didn't play too much time out there. Hemowitz impressive in the sense that he's only played 3 games this season for the Austin Outlaws and is the 3rd leading scorer on the team in that short amount of time.
Showing that it is quality, not quantity of your minutes as you play.
And Sam Hemowitz, one of those guys when you talk about hard-hitting dudes, offensively and defensively, always going full tilt, always has a lean. And now the Austin Outlaws retreating. Everybody coming back into the back pitch to avoid the bludgers. One is still loose here on the far left-hand side, and Jackson's going to pick that one up.
Jackson Johnson dropping the bludger, picking it back up to get a little bit closer without having to worry about being beat.
And
he catches it, and then he is beat.
So 2 beaters
but causing
right now.
to pull the beaters out of play, allowing Austin to drive in, passing across. Harry Greenhouse attempting to make the tackle, cannot connect before a legal reset that will be a turnover. Boston possession.
And Josh Andrews wasn't back in enough time, and on top of that, he was basically by himself.
Yes.
He had 2 of his chasers beat, and he was waiting for Arians to come back into the front pitch, but because he was beat, there was technically nobody eligible to receive that quaffle, so it's an illegal reset on the part of the Austin Outlaws. But once again, that pressure from the beater game up front, not only is Austin not able to maintain bludger control throughout the course of this game, but they're actually missing their few throws that they get on the beater matchup.
They are missing their few throws, although there has been some wonderfully strategic and timely catches by Mario Nasta and by Leanne Dillman, 2 very good beaters at catching in this game and in Quidditch in general. And that is why they play together for a lot of minutes for the Boston Knight Riders.
And coming into this matchup, we are nearing the 18-minute mark, 17:56. You can see it there on your timer.
And as you have already mentioned, we are approaching that deadline for using your timeout. That has to be done before 20 minutes have elapsed, and the Snitch is on the field.
And it looks like they're going to get a quick water break over here. Hemowitz going to go give some water to Bermudez.
As there is a call being discussed, it looks like it is a card for Leanne Dillman, a bludger turnover to Molly Linsing.
That's one way to get bludger control.
It is a flawless one at that.
It helps out a lot. It's definitely a double-edged, well, not double-edged sword. It doesn't hurt you in any way, but it helps out a lot.
Because now you have bludger control with the game approaching that 19-minute mark when you're going to have to start worrying about Snitch on pitch.
And I was about to say, we talk about Quidditch being a game of endurance and cardio. Snitch on pitch is something like, if you've never seen it before, it's basically a totally different game.
It is a totally different game because you have 2 planes of focus. Do you focus on that Snitch that ends the game and gives one team 30 points, or do you focus on the quaffle game and maintain your lead or try to come back from being behind, which is the question that Boston's going to have to ask themselves. Do we try to come back into this game, or do we just prevent Austin from getting the guaranteed win by going for the Snitch?
Also, both of these teams have 100% snitch catch rate. So somebody's streak will end today.
There will be a streak that is ended today.
And expect this one to get pretty high scoring. There are some players that literally specialize in snitch on pitch presence for each one of these teams. So
Mario Nasta is one of those, and then also on Boston you have Max Havlin, a Team USA quality beater, and also a USQ champion beater, and has been a part of the Boston Knight Riders from the beginning. So two-time MLQ champion as well. Knows
That's awesome.
exactly what to do and is a constant leader in strategy for the beater game.
That's a lot of bling.
Yeah.
A lot of bling. Also, has he declared if he's going to try and join Redeem Team 2018?
I have not heard that.
I've been trying to get a beat on that this entire tournament. People have been dropping Team USA roster players, and I'm wondering who's gonna try and join 2018's Redeem Team.
I will not confirm nor deny because I have no idea.
Gotcha. And the referee is going over to the Boston bench and explaining the penalty.
And it is
also, this is basically a timeout.
Oh, and because it is also a play, it is a quaffle turnover. The eligible chaser closest to where the penalty occurs gets the quaffle, so it will be an easy goal for Austin.
Tyler Trudeau trying to play his best defense. If he was a Jedi of some sort, maybe he could have done something about it.
And timeout Boston.
So we're about to have about 2 minutes of no play here, so the Boston Knight Riders and the Austin Outlaws about to load up. And I would say, what, 2 seconds ticked off the clock?
2 seconds about, if that.
And if you really wanted to get a lot of rest, the Austin Outlaws will call back-to-back timeouts. It'll be about 3 minutes where everybody gets a chance to rest up on this one and prepare for the back half of this game. So far, what have you been impressed by? I know, of course, we're talking about Nasta and what he's been able to do. Pretty much, I heard tales of his legendary brooms up abilities. We're talking about getting 2 bludgers off brooms up.
He is very good at brooms up. He is very quick. His hands are very strong. It is hard to actually beat him out of the play because he is able to crouch so low almost instantaneously. But I've also been very impressed by Boston's resiliency through the course of this tournament. As we will recall from yesterday, the Argonauts were actually leading the Boston Knight Riders up until the 16-minute mark, at which point they called a timeout, were able to regroup, come back, and win that game. So Boston knows how to fight from being down and out. What other people might think of as down and out in the game, come back and win before the snitch is caught.
And that's a quality that a lot of teams strive to gain themselves. When a lot of teams, once they get down big, they just kind of get themselves out of it. Or for a lot of front-running type teams, if they're ahead, they're going to win it. If they ever get down, they can't find a way to work their way back into it. And we see that quality in a lot of teams at MLQ just because of the level of players that we're dealing with here. A lot of people able to fight that resistance, get that persistence, and like you said, it usually comes from the teams that hit the hardest.
It usually comes from the teams that hit the hardest. That is very true. And as we expected, we've seen a lot of hard hits in this game, both from Boston and from Austin.
It says 17:56. All right. We have confirmed that the current game time is correct.
Not even a second elapsing the clock before the timeout went out.
Yeah, exactly. So Austin Outlaws just scored a goal. Becca DuPont off of that penalty that had been called previously after the quaffle turnover. So the Boston Knight Riders currently, if they caught the snitch, once it reaches the field, if this score holds, and with the way these guys are scoring, maybe not, who knows.
So Boston's going to have to respond with a similar run as which Austin has been able to achieve the past few minutes. As play resumes, Tyler Trudeau slowly walking up the pitch as Harry Greenhouse subs out for Teddy Costa. Both beaters coming back into play as a bludger is way off pitch.
Yeah, past the hard boundary, way past the hard boundary. Yeah, exactly. Jackson was really trying to just make somebody run. That's pretty smart idea.
It is a smart play as well that you can do as a beater. You can feign attempting to beat someone as you will not get called for that, but send the bludger very far off pitch, forcing the other team's beaters to run.
Alejo, do you approve of the throw from Jackson? Was that smart? Yeah, he was really, no, he really was. That was a deep pass that could have possibly been thrown to you. And once again, Master showing off some mastery of the beater game. He is excellent at moving that bludger. I wonder if he's got drills for that.
He does. The entire team has a lot of drills for being able to listen for approaching beaters from behind, being able to hear when you need to turn your head at the last second. Big tackle by Austin. Teddy Costa on the ground. Ball coming out, and we have a dog pile here. Max Havlin beating out the Austin Chasers, allowing Tyler Trudeau to come up with it.
The scramble is underway, and it might go, and it does, to the Austin Outlaws.
Becca DuPont with that strip from Julia Bear.
Yeah, as Alejo comes to the realization that Jacob Freeman of the League City Legends is now in for his first snitching duty of the entire tournament.
And it looks like we are having Emily Hickmott seek for the Boston Knight Riders. She does not normally seek. She's going in there to be strategically a defensive seeker. And it was also strategic to note that having a female seeker on the pitch does count for gender rule.
So it allows an extra male chaser or male beater to be on the pitch. And Martin Bermudez with the score, and a pull here would be the victory for the Austin Outlaws.
And the Seekers are on the pitch. If Austin pulls, this will be the end of Boston's undefeated streak. They will end this game 39-1.
Now, bludger control
is crucial.
Paramount, yeah.
And Lulu Zhu giving a good defensive wall for Emily Hickmott, who will have to also use her ability to hand game and fight as Teddy scores, bringing the lead down to 6.
We're talking about why bludger control is so paramount. They have to prevent the Austin Outlaws seeker from getting any shot at Jacob Freeman, and then on top of that, they need to buy more time so that they can close the gap between the Outlaws and the Knight Riders. And Jacob Freeman throws an Outlaws broom. He threw it towards Jesus, so he actually helped him out a little bit.
He helped him out a little bit, allowing him to come back into the game faster. You saw the Austin beater coming in, beating out the Knight Rider seeker to give their seeker a free open look.
And Marino over there with the throw, and it hits off the pole of the hoop on the mid side.
Hoops are sometimes the best defender on the field, second only to Gravity.
Gravity. That dang Gravity. Anyway.
Max Havlin beating the seeker before the pull, but being called off. Snitch referee had the angle there to call that appropriately.
Once again, the Boston Knight Riders, great on the bludger control.
Great on the bludger control.
Just need the points to get on the board for him, and that would make it 100-40. Might be 150 here in a second. No good on the shot as he was being pulled down, drifted to the far right-hand side, and that's been the difference between the Boston Knight Riders being successful. We've seen about 3 shots that have gone awry basically because of the tackle. The arm is free, but the angle is constantly changing, so it's hard to judge that, plus the wind and the way you're falling. Once again, gravity.
Gravity coming into play. It's almost like having a hand in your face trying to make a shot in basketball. It becomes a lot harder. And the Boston Seeker coming back into play as
Havlin just ran into the Seeker for the Austin Outlaws. Ryan Araki out there, not with Molly Linsing, surprisingly enough. Amanda Marsden out there at the beater position, and a run from the Knight Riders.
And having wide. And a dunk from Stu Driftlot, closing the gap a little bit more. Boston down by 5 goals, 100-50.
Highlight reel.
That would be on the highlight reel.
Naraki makes a wide throw off the pitch, recovers it. And now you're going to see a big portion of the Austin Outlaws roster make their way onto the pitch to help out not only with Snitch on pitch, but maintain this lead. The Knight Riders have already scored 20 points, 2 goals since the Snitch came on pitch. They had 30 before it was released, so we'll see if they can double that in the sheer minutes since the Snitch has been on the pitch.
And now you can see both teams have female seekers on. For Boston, we have Morgan Bertram. Again, another player who does not normally seek, playing the defensive seeker position, allowing the more physical players from Boston to be where they are needed most, and that is to lay out the big hits and push through the defensive wall that has been the Austin Outlaws.
And Drillflot over there ready to help out on Augie, and Augie may have been beat on the forearm, and Simon Arens is going to get away from one again, once again.
Pass
off a beat.
But hand is up, and we are going to have a possible call here.
And you see anything? No, for the penalty. That would be rough if it's one of those tackles. That looked pretty clean on the back.
That looked pretty clean, but it looked like it may have been one of those tackles as it was an advantage call. Advantage here being that if a team is on offense and a stoppage of play would disadvantage them due to calling a foul, you let that play finish out before calling the penalty. It looks like there's no penalty here, however, and play will resume.
For the soccer fans out there, that's the same concept.
Yes.
Playing advantage.
Jake Archibald picking up the quaffle at mid-pitch. Quaffle is live, so he will be able to drive through, or at least attempt to drive through, 2 Austin Chasers and their keeper.
And De La Fuente out there, he's the beater with no ball. He's got his hands up in the air, and I think they're going to move Jake Freeman to the far side over here.
As the Snitch moves to get a more strategic position, the Austin beater is far back, being surrounded by Boston beaters.
Throw back to De La Fuente to help with the defense there by Cole Travis. No beat on him, though, and a nice shifty move And a shot attempt that went just a bit over the hoops.
And that has been the story of this game for Boston. They have not been able to actually finish those shots.
Can't say they're not getting good opportunities.
They are getting good opportunities. They just are not closing. And another stoppage of play.
And we talk about referencing basketball, hand in the face, talking about contested shots. You know, most of the time, coach calls a timeout. He says, stop. Nobody's allowed to shoot anymore. We're only allowed to dunk. This is going to become dunk city. No more shots coming from outside the keeper zone. And, of course, that allows you to impose your will upon opponents. And
yep. And if this is a card on Austin, Boston will get that ball back.
Right.
At the point of the foul, which begs the question, when did that foul occur? Was it before Teddy's shot? If it is, he will get another opportunity to either make a shot or drive it in.
And he was pretty close. He was just inside the keeper zone.
Penalty on Bailey Fields from the Austin Outlaws.
Simon Arenz is headed to the penalty box for the Outlaws. And Stu, he will get it he'll get it outside the keeper zone. No, he will not.
He is ineligible as he is beat, so it does go back to Teddy Costa, but it is where he was at the stoppage of play. And Teddy is the only chaser for Boston that is currently not beat. It is him and Jake Archibald, the keeper.
But luckily for him, he has bludger control, and his beaters are coming to back him up here in just a couple of seconds. So a second for everybody to tap in, and then they'll be back in action.
It is amazing how much time having bludger control can buy you when you're on offense.
And it can make the difference between being able to dominate and snitch on pitch and actually being unsuccessful and letting your lead balloon to 100-plus points.
Correct.
Tipped on the pass, and it'll delay it enough for the beat and a defensive stop.
And Teddy standing in there trying to cause a little bit of a headache, gets beat out, and Austin will be able to recover.
Theory from Alejo, our videographer right now, controlling the camera. He believes the Austin Outlaws trying to go for the full 40 minutes, time elapsing.
And which is a smart strategy here if you know that there is
exposing the Knight Riders to these conditions for 40 minutes.
Not only exposing the Boston Knight Riders to the heat, but also knowing we already have a lead. We are securely beyond the 30-point range of the snitch catch. If we are able to maintain this lead till the time, we win anyway.
Right.
As far as Austin is concerned right now, the snitch does not matter, and that is a big hit.
De La Fuente on the far side in front of the Boston Knight Riders bench. The referees are going to confer. You heard the "oh" from the crowd. It means it was really good or really bad. Who knows? Bailey Fields out there playing the secret position.
Miming what she could do to try and pull that tail.
Jacob Freeman going to be allowed to turn and face.
It is something worthy to note. The snitch, during stoppages of play, is allowed to move around the field.
And that's actually a big point of contest in just the quitting report in general. People believing that he or she should be forced to stop.
Yep.
Yeah. Change in rule book
11, where they cannot do that anymore, but this is still under the current rule book for MLQ season. We are not going to change our rules halfway through the season.
Correct.
And it looks like it is a penalty on the Austin Beaters, so that will be a bludger turnover and I believe a quaffle turnover as well, or should be, but we will see what the referees say.
Current score 110-50. 4 minutes into snitch on pitch. And if it is true, the Outlaws are running for the long game here. We're going to be here for a while.
Yes.
Especially with the number of penalties being called and the amount of conference and conversation being had. The LA Guardians have finished up their first game versus the Intensity. We'll try and get a score from that one. If you are... Wow, that is surprising. The Indianapolis Intensity coming up with the win, 100-80 versus the LA Guardians.
That means LA was up in quaffle points before the snitch pull.
Right.
Just showing you the importance of being able to dominate that seeker game.
Wow. So 1 minute into snitch on pitch play. And on top of that, the LA Guardians came into this game as the second highest scoring team with a 123. And is that going to be good? It is not.
Stu Driflaw trying to tap it through. It is picked off. And another unsuccessful shot attempt by the Boston Knight Riders.
Would you say that Stu is a snitch on pitch specialist for the Boston Knight Riders?
He is. He actually is primarily a seeker, and he uses, as you can see, just physically his strength and size to overpower the snitches to get those pulls. It is, of course, here, though, that he is using that same size and power to make the hits where necessary to help Boston pull back into this game.
And clearly with the cardio to keep the tackles up persisting. Jacob Freeman out there.
Teddy Costa staying tight on Augie Monroe, not giving him any quarter.
Stu's been beat, so now some slight reprieve and a throw after a back cut from Augie Monroe. Possible goal coming up here if he had been able to get that first scoop. Nice recovery.
And a missed beat.
Barely missed, yeah.
And that missed beat allows Austin to get the bludger and a goal. Austin now up 7 goals, 120-50.
As history on the line. Bailey trying to clear the hands of Jacob Freeman, a former college football offensive lineman. So, yeah.
He knows how to maintain hands on somebody and prevent them from getting around him.
Understands leverage, and he's currently a high school football coach. So
he also teaches leverage.
Yes. He would be the perfect candidate.
Austin with a poor angle shot. Miscommunication there, I believe. Michael Johnston Jr., number 22 from Boston, thought that went in, so that's why he let that loose ball walk by him.
He's looking for some help. Josh Andrews with the height preventing him from passing up top, and what could have been a fast break, but the Outlaws ahead so much they'd rather allow themselves to get some subs and then set their offense up. But Josh Andrews, if you didn't see it on the camera, keeper position came way off the line to defend the only possible pass option, so he just chunked it up and hoped the jump ball was going to go his way. Almost did. He got it towards the right angle, just couldn't get the catch from his teammate up there.
And a seeker sub from Austin almost got it as the Boston Beaters trying to get in there to prevent it. And the Boston Beater, Mario Nasta, will get the seeker beat.
Arians running around the right side of the perimeter with a nice juke step, cutting in towards the hoops, and he'll get it over to Martin Bermudez right back. And oh man, a beautiful shot and score from the Austin Outlaws, number 93, Abby Simmons.
Score is 130-50. And Harry Greenhouse shoots wide.
Safe to say the Boston Knight Riders showing a little frustration here. First game of the day for them, we'll see. And there you go, a strip and beat. Molly Linsing called beat. Didn't hear it. Referee saw it.
Referee says that it scraped her hand when she tried to dodge it.
Gotcha.
Leanne Dillman beating the Austin Seeker out of the way to buy some more time for the Boston defense to set up and hopefully get a quaffle turnover. Molly Linsing trying to catch is unsuccessful. Both beaters beat.
And the scoring drought continues for the Knight Riders, and Bermudez was beat before that pass, so we'll see.
If Boston recovers anyway, that's going to be judged no harm, no foul.
Tyler Trudeau trying to get on a run here. He's got a beater up front. Can he score? Taking impact from Bermudez.
That is good.
There you go.
Harry Greenhouse having to push it through that last inch as it was about to bounce out.
Stat pattern, getting those assists in.
It is truly a team effort to score every goal.
I was gonna say, do you judge a keeper by his assist numbers or by his scoring?
You judge him by the amount by his plus minus for the minutes that he's on the field.
There you go.
That goal.
You also judge him by the wins.
Also judge him by the wins, yes. And an interesting stat, when Max Havlin, one of the beaters for Boston, and Harry Greenhouse have been on the same team, over the past 3 years, they have only lost 4 games. They have won about 100 and have only lost 4. So will this be one of those rare times where they are unsuccessful? We have another 12 minutes to find out.
Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this, it's not over yet. They still got to get one more win if the Outlaws want to advance onto the MLQ championship, and I have a strange feeling the Knight Riders aren't too fond of losing streaks if it does come down to that.
If it does come down to that, they will not be a fan of it.
A team, once again, we talk about their heavy intensity, and you've seen it here today, a lot of good tackling. Despite the penalties being called, a lot of intense tackles, and Jackson with a near catch.
Jackson with the catch, but it looked like a charge on someone without a ball.
Right.
If a bludger referee wanted to call that, could have been called illegal, but it was also a fight for the ball.
And the hard-hitting Sam Hemowitz into the game right now in front of him for the Knight Riders. It's going to be number 22 out there. We saw him earlier try and get a pass up front. That's Michael Johnston Jr.
And Michael Johnston Jr. During the USQ season plays for the University of Texas, so he is used to this heat.
No doubt about that. He's also used to winning.
Yes, he is. Oh, and Mario ducks a bludger attempt from Jackson Johnson.
Hamowitz got, oh, the intended receiver was not Hamowitz, luckily on that one, or else it was going to roll into the crowd over here, actually into the TV booth to the left of us. Marino's going to pick this one up. Hamowitz has got two beaters facing him down, trying to force the throw. He gets one throw. Can he get the second? Pass behind the hoops.
Leanne Dillman playing up.
Becca DuPont on the finish, and it seems to be a textbook play. Once you force that one throw, and we've seen the Knight Riders pull it off too, you get that one throw from the beater, and then all heck breaks loose for the matchup there. Hamowitz with another clean catch after a shot attempt from way outside the midline.
Teddy Costa was behind the hoop, so that could have either been a long-range pass attempt that Hamowitz was able to pick off or a shot attempt. Either way, Austin bringing up the ball. And you can see that they are slowly advancing the quaffle. Now that I believe they are realizing the reality of the clock and are playing the time game.
Yep, we got 9 minutes and 30 seconds and ticking until this one is all over off time. And now Arian's on the attack. Going to get another clean pass. Becca going to wait for the jump.
And another goal for Austin. And it was a suicide pull by Boston. Grace Dastos with the pull, stopping the game, so that way the team will be able to recoup, get out of the heat, save 10 minutes of play, and come back refreshed and ready to go 2-0 for the remainder of this series.
Yes, that's the intent. And after a certain point, very similar, you talk about basketball, you pull out the starters and you pack it up, you kind of let the time run out. But with this situation, you control when it ends, and that is what the Knight Riders have elected to do. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, the grand scheme, the headline you're going to hear is the streak ends. But the grandiose scheme of it all, the Knight Riders thinking further ahead. They're thinking big picture when they talk about this suicide grab in terms of knowing they were going to lose and still catching the snitch.
The team... Grace Dastos, Grace Dastos from Boston with the pull. The final score 150-90 in favor of Austin. Boston ends this game 39-1.
30-39 the final time.
30-39 final time, yes.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What do we got? Like an hour until the next game? Well,
next
like
game will be...
Okay, 14 minutes. They're going to get a chance to rest a little bit here. This game started at noon. It's now 1:01 Central Time here in Texas. And they're going to get a chance to rest up, get into the shade. And,
get some water, get some Gatorades, and then the teams will have to switch sides.
I will say one of my favorite things to see, not a streak, a miraculous streak like 39 wins come to an end, but the response is what I'm interested to see.
I am interested in seeing how Boston, who has been able to, in a single game, rally and come back and fight hard, can they come back and fight hard over the course of this series?
Right.
I may be a little biased as I am one of the managers for Boston, but I believe they can.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will call it a broadcast for game number one. Final score, 150-90. Before the bull, 150-90 is going to be the final score. 30-39 the final time. We'll be back here from League City, Texas in just a couple of minutes.
Hope to see you there.